That's a hard act to follow. Hi, my name is David Schwartzman, and I'm the president and CEO of Harridge Development Group. And we have looked at this property for 4 or 5 years. And it's something we've always wanted. And in every bid cycle, we were always the backup bid. And there's a reason, because sometimes you have to keep trying to get what you want. And to me, this property is an asset that belongs to the community. So tonight, this is really about you guys. It's not about us. I just want to become a face because a lot of people I have met here, but it's on Zoom. And it's better to do something in person than look at somebody in a box. Some of us look different on boxes than we do in person, but I think everybody generally looks better. So my partners in the deal are a company called Access out of New York City. It's a family office, and the gentleman who owns Access is a gentleman by the name of Leonard Baldwin. He has strong ties to Los Angeles. He owns a little company in Los Angeles that's called Warner Music. So he bought Warner Music about 10 years ago when Warner Music was in bad shape and sort of turned it around. He believes in the area. A lot of Warner Music's most famous artists are people that grew up in South LA. So retail, as we envision, is changing. And our whole thing is about saving the mall. And how do we save the mall? We bring life to the mall. So one of the things I want to do first of all is introduce my team. I have a few people here. I have Bill Myers in the background. I see Bill. Bill sort of runs the day-to-day stuff along with Yuri, who many of the tenants know in the deal. I see Greg Smith. Think that's Greg right there. My eyes are bad. There's Greg. I see him nodding. Greg is my in-house general contractor. Greg has built some projects you guys know in the area. They might not be popular, but they turned out beautiful, like the Cumulus high-rise. Greg was the general contractor of record on Cumulus. Greg now works for us. So we are somebody who builds stuff. He built Atelier in downtown LA, the highest rental building in downtown LA. Bruno, where's Bruno? There's Bruno. Bruno is really Greg's conscious and gets everything done for Greg. Makes Greg look good. Yuri, who all the tenants know at the mall, and I want to talk about the tenants. Yuri is like my right arm. Yuri is sort of my guy who tells me what everything is going on the ground, along with Jason. So when we were looking at this deal, I've known Ken here for a long time, and we were looking for like local groups coming in. Who can we partner with? And we were talking with a lot of different people. And one day I was sitting in a meeting, and I called Jerry Newman, my conciliary, who's been my lawyer for 20 years, from the womb to the tomb. And basically, I said, what if we made Jason the partner? And it was like sort of just came to me at the right time. We were looking, and Jason knows, he grew up here. Jason grew up as an usher at the movie theater, selling people plaque spaces for sponsorships. Jason's father, Ken, built the movie theater. I mean, Jason has history on this property going back to 2003? 90s. Okay, sorry. Okay, I was trying to be kind about your age. Okay, that's okay. It makes me look good. No.
Sweat equity.
Sweat equity. So he's got a lot of sweat equity in the property. And so we have a team here. There's a lot going on. So in the last 2 months, we bought them all. And transitions sometimes are not the most easy things. But Jenny, where's Jenny? Jenny's managing them all. Jenny, I don't see Jenny. Where's Jenny? Jenny. Katea, where's Katea? So we have a lot of exciting, they're really running them all day to day, along with Jason and Yuri. We have a lot of exciting things to announce. One, we've hired a management company, CBRE. Where's the CBRE guy? There he is. Okay, CBRE is managing them all. And we have a CBRE leasing team of Jamie Brooks, who is long student in the community. And Andrew Turf is not here, but you would like his hats. James Bromfield, this is going to be your biggest customer when you see Mr. Turf, some of the hats he wears. So at the end of the day, to make retail successful, we have to create a community. You're part of the community, and we want you to welcome us into the community. So what we're looking to do is do something to revitalize retail. Malls as they exist are not going to exist in 20 years. We have to make malls experience. So Jamie would tell you, Andrew would tell you, we got to center it around food and make it a venue where families can go and be, and where people can work, live, and play, and stay. So when we saw this opportunity was an approval to do everything. So what we want to do here is we want to revitalize the retail. We want to take some of these empty department store boxes, create them into experience retail, maybe some creative office, job centers, and create housing around it so we have jobs And if all the retail tenants are here tonight, the local tenants, because the nationals are going to come and go, but what's going to make this mall successful is the local curation of the mall. It's the Post and Beams, it's the Southern Gals, it's the Hotville Chickens, it's the Malik Books, it's Mr. Bromfield and his clothing store. Those are the people that are going to make this mall special. And by bringing in experienced retail and bringing in more food, we create experience. And if all of a sudden we have 1,000 units which are approved here, so just so that we're not reinventing the wheel, because the community has already spoken on this project. And we're using the entitlements. You know, there were a lot of people in this room that it was an interesting sale process, and there was a lot of things said. We never had an issue with the financing. There was a lot of stuff said out there, and people in the community would call me and say, David, you need to fight back. And I go, you know, I don't need to fight back. I just need to get a few things done. Because there are people out here that don't want this project to succeed. They want to point and say, see, we want this to succeed, because if this project succeeds, the community succeeds. And this can be something that the world can look at, where people come together and listen, we're a big melting pot, this country, and what we do is we create housing, we create jobs, and we revitalize an area. And that's really what this project's about today, is revitalizing something. It's 43 acres in the middle of the greatest city in the world. And that's what we have to remind people. And there's a lot of great events coming here. There's the Olympics, there's the Super Bowl, there's the new mall, and this is a showpiece for the world. And if we can create housing and create jobs and revitalize the region and everybody can thrive, the area will thrive. Nobody's being relocated out. This is parking lots. We are creating affordable housing. We are creating jobs. We're creating a community investment fund that 5% of our profit will go back in to nonprofit charities that are neglected by people, like maybe gang intervention, Meals on Wheels for seniors, job incubators for small investors that want to start a business that can't get a loan at a bank and go get $15,000 to $30,000 and get an SBA loan from our community investment fund. And maybe that person will take a business in the mall. It's smart business. But I have a few other things to announce. I've announced the leasing team. We also have a few architects on board. I see people from Jenkins Gill here tonight. We're very close to finalizing them to be the master plan architect on the deal. Earl Gales, many of you might know, is a longtime person in the community. We're hiring A.C. Martin, probably I think the oldest architecture firm in Los Angeles, to do the multifamily architecture on the project. And Gensler as well will be involved in some of the design, potentially some of the creative office. So we are about diversity, we're about job creation, and we're about creating housing, and we're about getting this done fast. And there are going to be obstacles in the way. This is not going to be a perfect process. But I'm telling you, if you guys are out there fighting with us to get this done, we will get this project done. Because this is a team effort. And that's really what this is about tonight, is we want to make all one team. We're a functioning unit. Broken, we're not strong. Together, we can't be beat.
So I want to take a second and just make sure that I point out, first of all, what David said about job creation and making sure that with those jobs, we do give opportunities. We will be looking to you to be able to help us get the word out when there's a job fair, to be able to help us get the word out when we're opening things, to make sure that the local hire is there. We'll look to people like Community Build to be able to help us on the local hire side. We'll be looking at Vermont's Loss and EDC and being able to help on the investment side and making sure that we as a community show that we really are moving as one, because I think what the perception is that we as a community are fractured. There's a perception that we are, it's the haves and the have-nots, if you will, and that we want to make sure that everybody has a place at Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza moving forward. With that said, one of the things that we want to focus on is going to be the youth. As I've said a couple of times to people tonight, there are no more paper routes. So the jobs that people are really going to be looking for teenagers will be at the mall. So we need to be able to make sure that the people that are calling me are not the grandmothers. Because that's usually when we have a job fair or we have an opening for a restaurant, the grandma calls and says, my grandson needs a job. We want to make sure that we get those youth ready now, and then in that we are participating in things like working with the Dorsey High School, working with Crenshaw High School, and what I'll encourage you to do is if you see any places where you would like to have, us participate, I want to make sure that you know that this is a site that is still a community mall. It's still the Crenshaw Mall. It's still what you have really built here is still here as we move forward, and we'll move forward together. So with that,
I'd like to add one more thing. All right, I forgot to say something. See, I forget. So it's a few things. So during this process, there were a few people that reached out to me because it was a difficult process. One was Leroy Richardson. I saw him earlier. Again, I talked to him on the phone. There were people like John Gonzalez, Tisha, Brenda. I mean, y'all know who we're talking about. But I mean, seriously, it was a rough process. Ken. And really, when people would call me, there were times when I got very down, like, oh my God, what today? My wife, Elizabeth, she put up with a lot. She's really the hero here at the end of the day, because she stayed married to me through the sale process. Exactly. We got a dang wife, my main partner. But all kidding aside, listen, we're in this for a long haul. We want to do the right thing here. Listen, you're a capitalist. I'm not going to tell you. You're not always going to like what you hear from me, but the one thing I will tell you, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to say, you're not going to say this guy BS me and said this. If I say we're going to do it, we are going to do it. You might not always agree with it, but you're not going to say I lied to you. Kurt Flood Jr., I have an interesting, funny story about his father when I was a kid. I mean, there's a lot of people. My mother was born in Baldwin Hills in 1929, up in the Dawns. Okay? So in some ways, I'm a Baldwin Hills native, okay? Granted, I grew up in Fresno, California, and about a block away from where John Gonzalez grew up. But still, at the end of the day, so I just want to say, listen, this is a family effort. And again, Jason, everybody, we are here for you. We want to create jobs. We want to do the right thing. We want to revitalize this place. We want to curate this mall. We want to take that Sky Bridge and make it a local food hall curated by 20 or 30 local vendors. We want to do something with like food trucks once a month or something. We want to change the place. We want to make this the place to be. Because if this becomes the place to be, it helps the local business, and people want to live here, and people want to shop here, and people want to work here.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.